Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today we're taking a look at Maison Alhambra's Megara. Alright, so Megara is from the house of Maison Alhambra. It's an eau de parfum concentration, and you can pick this bad boy up for $35 at places like Fragrance Buy. Link will be down in the description if you decide you want to check this one out. Also have a coupon code. Save yourself $5 off your first purchase at Fragrance Buy if you decide you want to shop with them. I should mention this is a 50 ml bottle. I don't think this comes in any other size, so this is 50 mls for $35. Deceiving looking box here. You think it's just kind of a generic cardboard box, but in fact it does have a little bit of a fancy presentation where it opens up on the inside like that with our bottle sitting nice and snug in this kind of styrofoamy velvet style of casing. And the bottle, nice, clear, rectangular style bottle, has some nice rounded corners on it. Really like the cap on this. This is a nice wooden style of cap. So just a little added touch to it, not your normal cheap plasticky kind of ones. And the atomizer on this, absolute fire. Pressurized atomizer. Oof, who doesn't like a pressurized atomizer? So overall presentation on this, pretty nice. So if you're wondering what Maison Alhambra's Megara smells like, come to the right place, because I'm about to tell you. This is apparently a clone of Orto Parisi Megamare. I do not own that fragrance. I've never smelled that fragrance, so I can't tell you if this is a good clone, but based off of the name as well as the note breakdown, I would say that's what they're going for here. Some of the notes listed in this are a marine, salt, lemon, divana, iris, ambergris, sandalwood, and oak moss. So let me tell you what I get from this fragrance. In the opening, off of my skin, I get a decent alcohol blast off of this. It's a little tricky to get through in the first 90 seconds or so, but once that settles down, and when it is in the air, you don't get as much as that, but when it does settle down, you get a real nice punch of that salt coming through with those marine notes, kind of a green, seaweedy, algae, sort of vegetal sort of marine note coming through. And that pop of lemon comes through, adding a little bit of citrus to it, giving it a little bit of a kind of a fresh, invigorating nature. But that salt and that marine kind of pull this down a little bit. This is a fresh style of fragrance, but not in the same sort of invigorating citrus or very kind of like aromatic lavender sort of way. This is a very kind of sea breeze in the face sort of fresh vibe going on to this. You do get a little bit of fruity sweetness that comes through. You get a little bit of that iris that moves in, so it adds some floral sweetness to it. A little bit of kind of a powdery texture that moves through, but you really get that sandalwood pushing forward fairly quick. A nice smooth style of sandalwood. But it's interesting because it's got this kind of wet driftwood sort of vibe going on to it. So thinking of a piece of wood that's been sitting in the ocean, soaking up that kind of green vegetal, that real salty vibe going on, that's been sitting on the beach kind of baking and drying out. It has that sort of wood vibe going on to it. And then lots of ambergris comes through. So it has this kind of sweet, animalic marine sort of note added with that ambergris in that sandalwood, and you still get a little bit of that bitterness from the oak moss balanced off with some of that floral sweetness. Very interesting scent profile of this. It's an interesting balance between kind of 4 different scent accords. You get a lot of salt, a lot of marine, green vegetal, that woody accord, and that kind of ambergris sweetness. Very unique, very complex. Not going to be for everybody. It is a very masculine fragrance, and it's a very aquatic style fragrance, but it's not your typical kind of designer aquatic style of fragrance, and it might be a little bit challenging for you. But if you are into aquatic fragrances, if you are one of those people that kind of like to step out, try something a little bit different, this might be something you might be interested in because it is a unique fragrance. So when it comes to the performance of Maison Alhambra's Megara, get about average performance off this, especially for kind of a fresh aquatic style fragrance. 5-6 hours of longevity off my skin, and it does project moderately for about an hour and a half before it does settle in fairly close. So not a beast mode projector, about an arm's length or more before it does kind of creep back in. And like I said, 5-6 hours off my skin. You can really push this out on clothing though. That's one thing I did notice. Getting some on my clothing, this did last into the next day. I could really smell that kind of salty marine, especially the salt. The salt, for whatever reason, really lingered on my clothing. So you can push out the longevity if you do get some on your clothing, as well as the heat. I noticed when I was moving around and I was kind of doing some chores around the house and my body heated up a little bit, this did start pushing off a little bit more. So this really is kind of like a summer style fragrance that's really gonna push out a little bit more once it's a little bit warmer outside. I'm in the middle of the spring right now, so it's not super hot outside, but like I said, overall performance on this, about average. So when it comes to the where and when, I think Maison Alhambra's Megara would be most appropriate. Definitely think this is a casual style fragrance, just kicking around, headed to the beach, sitting on the patio, having lunch with friends. This is the kind of fragrance you're gonna be wanting to wear. Not a date night style of fragrance. It's too kind of salty, marine, like I said, a little bit challenging with that kind of green vegetal note that's working through it and that kind of wet, baking in the sun sandalwood. It doesn't have that kind of sexiness or allure. It does have that kind of masculine vibe going on to it, but there'd be other date night fragrances I pick over this one for sure. And formally, I don't think this would be kind of a dress up style of fragrance. You could wear this to the office, but you gotta be careful. Like I said, a very unique, complex, green, vegetal, marine, salty, driftwood style of fragrance. And at the gym, I think once your body heats up, this is really gonna push off too, and this could be a little bit too much for people around you. So just be careful if you're gonna wear this to the office or the gym. I think you can pull it off. It does have that kind of fresh sort of vibe going on to it, but not fresh enough if you ask me. So just warning you, you can do what you want with your own fragrances. In terms of seasons, definitely a summer style of fragrance that has that beach vibe, that getting smacked in the face by a nice ocean breeze, just hitting you with that salty marine sort of vibe going on to it. You wear this in the spring. I'm wearing this in the spring currently, and it just fits that vibe just fine. In the winter, this will not push through the cold at all. This, again, too fresh, too aquatic for the winter. You can try and wear it, but no one else is really gonna smell you. I think the cold would just hold this in too much. And perhaps the fall, you could maybe, if it's a bit of a warmer day, but through and through, a spring, summer fragrance and a casual wear fragrance that you gotta be careful at the office and the gym, fellas. So my overall thoughts on Maison Alhambra's Megara is, it's a like, just not a love for me personally. I do like a good, fresh, aquatic style of fragrance. The one thing I do kind of like enjoy, or just kind of appreciate, I should say, is kind of that salty accord that kind of comes through. It is a real kind of punch of saltiness that comes through. And then the ambergris and sandalwood that you get in the dry down, which is pretty much the two notes that you're gonna get the most of. There is that oak moss, there is that little bit of iris that kind of adds to that, but that is the kind of main scent accord in the dry down. It's interesting. I enjoy it as kind of a fragrance enthusiast. I like the scent profile. I just don't know when I'm gonna wear this one all that often, to be quite honest. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm going to reach for something else, like a Bulgari Pour Homme Marine, for example. That one has a little bit more kind of wearability, a bit more of a dumb reach, a little bit easier to wear. This one is just kind of has that over uniqueness, that over complexity to it, that it just kind of puts it into that territory where it's just like, on a rare occasion, I would put this on. Performance-wise, I think could be a little bit better. This doesn't perform as well as I would hope. And for $35 for a 50 ml, this is a little bit pricier for the Maison Alhambra house. Bang for your buck, I'm not sure if it's there, to be quite honest. Like I said, the scent accord is enjoyable, it's nice, it's unique. If you're a fragrance enthusiast that's wanting to kind of step out, try something different, this is gonna do it for you. If you're kind of new to the fragrance game, however, and you're looking for kind of a good, dumb reach, easy to wear style of aquatic fragrance, I think you should steer clear of this one. This one might be a little bit too challenging, too salty, too much ambergris sandalwood in the base that's just gonna be kind of off-putting a little bit, or just hard for you to get used to. So that's just my overall thoughts. I like the scent accord, I just don't love it, and I just don't know where I'm gonna wear this all that often, and I wish the performance was a little bit better, especially for that price point. So make up your own mind. I'm just here to give you my honest opinion, and that's what it is. That's Maison Alhambra's Megara. And I want to hear from you guys. What's one of your favorite fresh aquatic style fragrances? Comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love getting your different recommendations, hidden gems, scent profiles, different tastes. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.